to not have any ability to protect ourselves.
There we go. Awesome.
And I say this almost every time I speak. It's not written to us. It is not written to us. It is written to the government. Congress shall make no law. Because our founders knew we know how to take care of ourselves. I got a lot of stuff. Anybody here got shoes? I mean, you coming after, when the, you know, and our founders lived in a time where, you know, the military that were against them could literally come into their house and take their things or quarter there. And our founders made sure that that was not going to be able to happen again by giving us the power. And I will have to say, in the 18 months since we've been here, Chris, we were here in
Thanks, guys. I thought I did start the last stream horizontally. I guess not.
A total assault on our ability to hold fast to our Second Amendment, haven't we? Even in 18 months, they have completely lost what's left of their minds.
Yeah, hit that like button, folks.
You know, as a
hit it.
legislator, and I'm here with the Army, Ron Hood, incredible, and Tom Brinkman and John Becker. We are the radical nut jobs that they all hate up here. And you know, we're in the minority. But I don't care what they think. How's that working for you? I don't care what they think. They already think we're they think you're a bunch of knuckle-dragging Neanderthals, Bible-thumping Fruit Loops. And I couldn't possibly care what they think, do you? I don't care what they think. Because I'm standing, first of all, I'm a Christian first. And a conservative second, and a Republican third. That's moving down all the time, could I just say. But you know, we're now facing a government that literally wants to deny me the right to defend myself. And that's not their job. The Nancy Pelosi's of the world can shut it.
Yeah.
And this bunch of pretenders 2 nights ago, 10 of them, I don't know a one of them that can beat Donald Trump in their wildest dreams.
Hell no.
Not a one. But I know that our founders would have, if they could have looked ahead in time and had seen this group trying to take the White House, who want to do things like shout their abortion and take your guns, they would have wondered that why we're being asked to give up our rights during such a time of violence. Now, I'm from Southwest Ohio, just south of Dayton, and we saw a tragic shooting back in August. It's so painful, really, for any community to have to go through that. And the first thing the next day, you know what the left said? You've got to get rid of those guns. They didn't mention the shooter. You know who they talked about? Donald Trump. This is all Donald Trump's fault. And this is the fault of the guns. You know, I've recently lost some weight. So you know what? You know what didn't make me fat? My fork. My fork did not make me overweight. I did that. And my gun doesn't kill anybody. It's just a piece of metal. And it gives me power, and it gives me strength, and it gives me a defense against the wicked and evil times in which we're living. And so we're not sheep.
Hey, if you're just getting to the stream, welcome. This is the Ohio Gun Rights Rally.
I don't want to alarm you because you know, we're living in a dark time. We are the legislators that are up here for now. This is our assignment for now. We're not going to be up here forever. But I want to charge you. You are literally the only thing standing between this nation and utter disaster.
For anybody watching, I am going to go look for counter-protesters here at some point.
It's all you.
When this is done.
And locally, at the local level, I know you're from all the different places in Ohio, but when things happen, please speak up and say, no, we're not having this nonsense in our local library. I elected this school board, so if you do this in our local school, we're voting all of you out, and that $150,000 a year superintendent, he's going out the door with you. You're in charge. You're in charge. You're the boss. We work for you. You are paying our salary, and you're paying the salary of everybody at the local level who's trying to take your rights away. And if you have a legislator who has already gone on record and said that they're going to vote for red flag, the most unconstitutional thing I have ever heard of, you need to vote that person out. I don't care who they are. This is how we will be safe. I want to be safe in my community. The red flag law, and I don't know where it's at. You know, we hear the same thing you all hear. Who's looking at it, who's voting for it, who's presenting it. It's unconstitutional. It's dangerous for our law enforcement. You're guilty until you're proven innocent, instead of innocent until you're proven guilty. It completely does away with due process. And here's the thing, everybody pushing it, they're all lawyers. And you know they know better, but they're afraid. They don't have any courage, because courage comes from God. And when an audience stands in front of you and says, do something, don't do something stupid. Don't introduce a bill called red flag law, because criminals don't care. I asked a law enforcement officer this week, I said, what do you think about red flag? He said, by the time we catch a criminal and he stole something or shot somebody or beat his wife up, the last thing he cares about is some dinky little red flag law. It's not going to stop him, and it's not going to be a detriment. So I will say this, an armed society is a polite society. This is the most polite bunch of people I've ever been around. Registration is a precursor to confiscation. It's a precursor to confiscation. Gun controls infringe on our rights, and we are the empowered people. The whole world looks on with envy at what we have here. Let's don't throw it away by being passive. Please, please support those legislators and those people in your community who are willing to stand up for our Second Amendment. It means more than anything. When we go before an enemy nation, if we put a piece of paper in front of them, this is what our Constitution says. On paper, it's in ink. They don't care about that piece of paper. You know what they care about? They care about how much firepower your nation has. That's what's called peace through strength, and that's what we've got to hold on to. So thanks so much for coming today.
Yes. Give it up for Candace Keller.
I knew that was coming.
Okay, I just met a girl, and she is a veteran. She's retired from the Air Force, Lieutenant Colonel. She's kind of a little tiny thing. And she did 2 tours in the Middle East, and she's seen a lot, and she's got a lot to say about the Second Amendment. So I'm going to introduce Jennifer Gross.
Where are my brothers and sisters? Raise your hands. Brothers and sisters in arms. God bless you. 95. That was the number of days, the hell that I lived in the desert. And I served my fellow Army guys, and I flew into Kuwait, and I carried a sidearm. And who taught me? Those amazing training instructors in the military. And then what happens? You come home. Now I'm a practicing nurse practitioner. I see all the veterans. I see Marines. I see Army. I see Air Force. I see EOD disposal. And I carried my sidearm. I carried it, and I carried it well. And by the way, I'm a nurse. And so then what happens? We come home, we've been trained, we're armed, and now something called red flag comes along. And so my neighbor says, she's a combat veteran. She went to the desert. I don't feel safe. I'm not sure that she should have a gun. What do you guys think about that? Do I look scary? But to some people, those of us who have served, we look like we're scary to them, and it doesn't matter whether we have done anything. Just because we carry, we're scary. So someone can come to us and they say, oh, well, I know she carries a gun and her husband's working in the yard and he's got one on him now, and I don't feel safe because I'm a snowflake. And then we get a knock on the door and they say your neighbor doesn't feel safe. They think you might have PTSD because you're a combat veteran. And so they come and they take our arm. How is that right? How, according to the Constitution, are we free with our inalienable rights that can only be taken by God? How can we have someone come and take that right that shall not be infringed? How? How is that? How can we be safe? How can we be trained by our armed forces? And then, as soon as we get here, I'm from Westchester, Liberty Township, Fairfield Township, District 52, Butler County. How then, in Butler County, am I no longer safe to care for you, my U.S. citizen, my brother and sister? So I ask you, do not remain, not that you guys are, we're the active ones. Talk to your neighbors. Make sure they know. Educate them. Educate them. Let them know that gun rights bills languish in the Ohio House, not being voted on. Not being voted on. Is that not true?
Hey guys, you know they demonetize this, so super chats if you are so inclined.
I ask
Thank you.
Support each other. Carry, and oh, by the way, I'm for constitutional carry, and because shall not be infringed means shall not be infringed.
Pretty clear. Yeah.
And no offense against the CCW people, but if a mom lives in the inner city and $100 is too expensive for her to do a CCW class, is that not infringement? So if she has constitutional carry, then she is not infringed. So thank you. Again, I'm Jennifer Gross, and I'm running for the Ohio House of Representatives, District 52. You will never find a stronger additional Neanderthal in the Ohio House of Representatives.
Ready to call herself a Neanderthal. Is this thing working? I can hardly hear it. Here we go. All right. First thing before I start speaking, and I'll try to keep it a little bit more brief than some of my recent videos. But the Ohio Gun Owners booth back, Tom, I saw that. The OGO booth back there, we're running a special on memberships today. So make sure you stop by. We have a wonderful new T-shirt. It's got the Betsy Ross flag. Apparently, it's the newest racist symbol. Yeah. So we threw it up on
I need to get a Betsy Ross
shirt, and it's a fantastic shirt, and it triggers people quite effectively. So,
excuse me.
Make sure you stop by there. It's a rally.
Hey, thanks, Grimfang. Appreciate it, buddy.
Another thing I'd like to just read off here for just a few seconds.
Anybody's interested in Ohio Gun Owners?
Fabulous signs that I see here today. They're fabulous. I see this one over here first and foremost. Hold that thing up big. It says, "Betrayed Ohio gun owners, two-faced," and it says liars. And it says Jim Irvine. We're going to talk about some of these things here today. And these are people that are making deals with the devil, but we'll get into that in just a few moments. Candace Keller said something just a second ago. She said this is a war on women. And then the following speaker, I'm sorry, I don't remember what her name is. I'm bad with names. But she emphasized it as well. She talked about the war.
Thanks again, Grimfang. Really appreciate it, man.
And because we carry, we're scary. I was looking over at Chris Laidlaw. Where'd he go? Where'd he go?
Does it say Melon Label?
Yeah, and that's the kind of person I think of. It is veterans who are going to be the #1 demographic that is targeted right out of the gate.
Latin, I'm assuming. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to pronounce it right.
And we cannot let that happen. So a big thank you to all of our veterans. I should have said that from the outset. If you are a veteran, thank you so much for our opportunity to stand here and peaceably assemble to address our grievances with this government. And boy, do we have grievances with this government. I'm just going to give kind of a legislative update on where we are right now and where we're going here at Ohio Gun Owners. So it wasn't that long ago that we were all standing right here, wasn't it? How many of you were here at the March 10, 2018 rally? Give a big, huge yeehaw.
I found out about it too late.
Yeah, a lot of you were here, and I will say they have found out apparently that we are peaceful, law-abiding citizens because we don't have the snipers up on each corner this time, so that's good. They found out that we're good folks, what we already knew. But we were right here, and what was kind of the signature event that happened that day? Mary Taylor stood here and held her gun high, and she went on the record for gun rights and said, I will not vote for red flag gun confiscation orders. I will not vote for universal background checks. You all remember that? Yeah. And so we spent the next several months like hound dogs, dogs on bones, trying to get Governor or then candidate DeWine to go on record against some of this gun control, or at least say that he would support and sign into law some of the pro-gun bills that we are now trying to push through our General Assembly. And what do we get? We got nothing. We got nothing. In fact, I went to the Trump rally down in, I think it was Westchester, Ohio, or Mason, somewhere down there, and he was there working the line, and I asked him point blank to his face, why don't you sign our survey? He's like, well, because I support the Second Amendment. I support the Second. Yeah, so does Barack Obama, but why won't you sign our survey and go on record? He just never would. And so a lot of people were asking us back then, during the election season, they say, Chris, and they would email us and call us and say, Chris, what are we supposed to do here? What are we supposed to do? We got Richard Cordray, who is a lunatic, and we got Mike DeWine. Who's a lunatic? Who's a lunatic? Yeah. Now, lest you guys forget,
Chris, the NRA sold us out. That's why we got DeWine and these red flag laws.
we're going to talk about that.
Let's talk.
So let's remember who John Kasich is here for just a minute. Remember back in.
Hey guys, thanks a lot for them super chats. Really appreciate it. You know, YouTube's already demonetized this, so.
I really meant to talk about Mike DeWine. Let's talk about Mike DeWine. Remember who Mike DeWine is here for just a second.
When he's done, or when I'm done here, I am going to look for some counter-protesters.
Then Congressman John Kasich to vote for the Clinton assault weapons ban back in 1994. Right? Remember that? Now, we don't remember that very often because it was actually John Kasich who got the letter of thanks from President Clinton saying you did such a wonderful job stabbing your constituents in the back and supporting this gun control. So we have that record for Mike DeWine. We have him on record voting to let gun control organizations sue firearms manufacturers. Remember that? Because, but he never supported a bill that said we could sue car manufacturers for automobile accidents. No, he never did that. He's also the same guy who joined with Dianne Feinstein in 2004 to reintroduce, after it had sunsetted, to reintroduce the Clinton assault weapons ban. How about a boo? And for those of you who are about ready to jump down my throat and say, hey, you're using the left's terminology of assault weapon ban. Yes, I know. I'm borrowing their terminology. There is no such thing as an assault weapon. But so that's Mike DeWine. And so everybody was asking us during election season, Chris, what do I do? What do I do? And I said, you know what? Let me ask around to a few people who've been around this state for a long time. I'm just going to bounce this. I have these suspicions, but let me get back to you guys. So I started calling around to some people who've been following Ohio politics for a long time, and they agreed with me right out of the gate. They said, "Look, if we have Richard, we know what Mike DeWine is. We know what he is. We know he's just John Kasich reloaded. He was nasty as a congressman. He said he found Jesus.
I see some people gathering out there. Maybe.
We know what he is. We know what he is. He won't go on record. And he said, and a lot of people said to me, say, Chris, think about this. If we have Richard Cordray, and this is a hard pill to swallow, folks. If we have Richard Cordray, think of it in terms of our legislature. How are Republicans in the legislature going to react if a Democrat governor tries to run through gun control?
I said, well, sounds pretty easy to me. I think they'll probably act like Republicans. And they, to a person that I talked to, said, absolutely, that is the case. Because now, what do we have? We have Mike DeWine, one of ours, a Republican, going on Anderson Cooper, going on every media outlet that he could possibly find, saying, I'm working with the gun rights community.
That's a good
They're
impression.
sitting at the table. The gun control organizations are sitting at the table, and we're all crafting this policy that I think can work. I think can work.
I don't know how many of you watched the presser where he unveiled the 17-point plan. I tried to play some of that stuff on our Facebook channel for you guys. Try to distill down to just a few seconds the most important parts. But one of the reporters asked him, they said,
Little Nicky, yeah.
Why now? Why now, Governor? Well, you support this gun control in the past, and then you somehow got the NRA to give you an endorsement, even though you were previously an F-rated candidate with them. You know how hard it is to get an F rating from the NRA? It's pretty hard. Why now? What about the Dayton killing? And of course, they don't call it a killing; they call it the Dayton gun violence occurrence. What about this event is different? And he said it so arrogantly, so smugly, and my glasses aren't thick enough to really do justice and pretend I'm Mike DeWine. But he said, because now I'm governor. Because now I'm governor. He's like, I was attorney general back in the 90s. I was in Congress, then a lieutenant governor back in the 90s. Then I was in Congress, and then I was attorney general. But now I'm the governor, and I can do it. Boo! How dare he? How dare he? If he had gone all over this state and to every corner of this state back in the election season of last year and said, you know what? I am going to introduce a 17-point gun control plan that includes the hallmark agenda for Michael Bloomberg, which is universal gun registration. He would have got his teeth kicked in, first of all in the primary season, and if not then in the general election season. Am I right? Yeah, people saying recall. Tell him to resign. That's exactly what he should do. He should come here. He should come down out of his ivory tower up there. His office, his regular offices are up there in the top of the right building. He should waddle down here and cross that street and stand up here and apologize to each and every one of us for the knife in the back that he's given us. He's tyranny reloaded. That's exactly what he's. He's Kasich reloaded. But he's got company. He's got company. He's got
for a video.
Lieutenant Governor John Husted at his side now. Now everybody knows that there was a deal made with the devil back then. John Husted was running for governor, and all of a sudden he just folded up like a cheap suit and rolled right into the Governor DeWine campaign. And it was terrible. Everybody knew what was going on. Everybody knew something happened behind closed doors. And then just a couple of weeks ago, when DeWine was having another presser, he even admitted one of the sticklers that Mike DeWine said that Husted had to agree with before DeWine would let Husted come onto his ticket was that he had to overhaul the Ohio NICS, or the background check system. Get all the data from all the different data entry points all across the state to get flowing.
Thanks everybody for being here and watching.
So it can automatically
this is the Columbus, Ohio gun rights rally.
Gun owner database. John Husted made the deal.
Came here for some counter protests, but
Benedict
they're not
Husted
materializing.
is his new name.
Unfortunately. Be funny.
So John Husted has signed off on universal background checks.
I'm gonna walk around here a little bit.
Anybody here who is opposed to universal background checks?
In fact,
You know what
let's walk
that
over here real
is?
quick.
It is the first
step to outright gun confiscation. And there's a lot of people, there's a few bugs out there who don't agree with this or don't understand this concept. But the background check system, A, it has never stopped a single mass killing. Everybody, we've all seen that now. But B, it is a federal gun owner database system. And the day that they come to try to take away our guns, that is the database that they will be using. John Houston made the deal to enhance that system right here in the state of Ohio. Remember his name for later on down the road. He sold gun owners out completely. So, yeah, I'm actually not surprised. So, like I said, Devon's got companies. We've got Houston. This is a cast of characters.
There's a couple. There is a social justice park. It's actually called Social Justice Park, right down the road from where we're at right now. Maybe we'll go there and talk to people at Social Justice Park.
Anyway, so who else?
It's literally walking distance. We can probably walk right over to it.
Who else is on this cast of characters? Let's talk about Senate Republicans. Huh? Well, we're going to get to that. Hold on. Hang on. You're jumping the gun. Senate Republicans. It's no secret. The Columbus Distrace or Columbus Dispatch, whatever you want to call it. I'm sure they got one of their people slinking around here somewhere. They've been reporting on this with glee that Senate Republican Republican President of the Senate, Larry Obhoff.
If you haven't yet, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell notification.
No, you don't, because due process is still violated in that thing. But so you got Larry Obhoff, who is saying that he supports it, and then the leftist news media, they did a poll.
Glad to see some of my favorite people here. We got Cindy. We got Modus Operandi.
I'm gonna read these Republican names out loud.
I saw some other people.
Now keep in mind, these are Senate Republicans who have said that they will support
Got Lucky Son here. Nice.
17-point gun control agenda plan, and they haven't even read the bill. They haven't even read the bill. They're pulling Nancy Pelosi. We gotta pass the bill in order to see what.
There will be a video hopefully with this as well, as my battery doesn't die. I might have to cut the stream short here, just so I have enough battery to go around and do some interviews.
We've got Senate 7.
Hey, at least my phone's not overheating like in Cincinnati.
Steve Wilson. Give him a boo. Give him a boo. There you go. Senate District 10, Bob Hackett. This one's, she's a real peach. She's a real peach. Senate District 16, Stephanie Coonsey. You ever heard of Nasty Boo? Yeah, she's a real nasty piece of work. She's the same one who joined up with Senator John Eklund last year to co-sponsor, or to joint sponsor, the Senate companion bill to House Bill 585. Remember that bill? That was John Kasich's gun control bill. At least John only had a 5-point gun control plan, whereas DeWine has a 17-point gun control plan. So yeah, a nasty piece of work, Stephanie Coons. Senate 31, this was really shocking me. Say hi to him. That he'd support, has never read the bill. Give him a big boo. Kirk Schuring and Matt Dolan are the other two from Senate 29 and Senate 24.
See ya, Diesel.
Said that they will support this garbage, even though they've never.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the stream for now because I just said my phone wasn't overheating. It is.
Where you people are the strongest in this state. This is where there's the most amount of resistance. You're looking at 2 of them right here and 2 more over there. We got our biggest amount of resistance. Give it up for them again. They are the people who are leading the real resistance inside this building and across the hall over there at the right building. But in the House, very few Republicans are coming out and saying that they are going to oppose this stuff. I'm sorry, and saying that they're going to support this stuff. We got 2 on this list that the media reported. Only 2. I'm gonna
let it go a little bit longer here, guys.
2 of them. Number 1 is from House District 30.
They need a battery meter on here. I don't know how much battery I have.
You can think of what Tyrannosaurus Rex looks like. I'm kind of thinking what Bill Sykes looks like. He looks like a T-Rex, not in a good way. So you got one guy.
A desk pop?
Right?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
He's about as high as it gets over there, except for maybe our speaker. But the number two in the House, I thought this was very shocking when I first read this. This was House District 52, and it still just blows my mind. House District 52, Representative George Lang. What in HE double hockey sticks is George Lang doing, saying that he's going to support red flag gun confiscation when he's never read the bill? Now, for those of you who don't know who George Lang is, I'm sorry, I get bogged down to the minutia of this stuff too much. So tell me, shut up, Chris, keep moving if you get bored. But George Lang is the chair of the Criminal Justice Committee. Okay, he's the chair of the Criminal Justice Committee, and guess where constitutional carry got sent by the Speaker after we passed it out of the Federalism Committee? It got sent right over there to George Lang's committee in the Criminal Justice. Guess what? Guess what also is happening with George Lang? He's got a very eventful life. He's also running for state senate. He thinks he needs a pay increase. He needs an office upgrade. He doesn't want to cross underneath the tunnels anymore. He wants to just have his office right over here where the senators have their offices. Well, you want to know who George Lang is running against in the Senate? Anybody take a guess real quick? He's running against her, right here. He's running against Candace Keller. Candace Keller, again, she is the joint sponsor on the Stand Your Ground bill that's about to be introduced momentarily. So to say that constitutional carry has an uphill slog right now, that'd be a fair and accurate statement. But George Lang and Bill Sines, those are the only two Republicans that have stated their public support for red flag.
All right, guys,
gun
I'm going to go ahead and cut this so I have battery for interviews.
I'm
after
almost done
this.
with the cast of characters here.
So,
We're going to get to BFA in just a second. But,
thanks for watching.
The media. The media.
Look for the video again in the next couple
days. Has
days.
anybody seen the
See y'all
Columbus
later.
Dispatch around here? Are they around here? They got to be around here somewhere.